last time is just try to look at the camera a bit more.
What? No.
I mean, you don't have to. It doesn't really matter.
It's hard because it lights right around it.
Yeah, but
right. You know what I'm saying? All right, it's good to be back. It's been a while since we've been doing this. A lot of things have changed. The Canucks have changed coaches. They traded away their captain, and most importantly, I have no beard.
Hi, it's nice to be back. I'm going through some health issues, but you can see, speaking of beards, mine's different now. It's not on the sides here, but trading Horvat and Rick Tocchet.
Let's talk about the Horvat trade.
The Horvat trade. Well, I didn't expect the Islanders, and I also didn't expect the Islanders to re-sign Bo like they did. You look at the return. It's all I'm all confused as how the draft pick works, so I'll leave that to Peter. But you get Ratu, I believe they pronounce it. It's spelled Ratty, but I think it's pronounced Ratty. Down in Abbotsford right now. I don't know. He's 21 years old. And then Anthony Beauvillier. Beauvillier is a good player, but I don't think he's a first line guy, even on this team. He brings, he's a good skater, and he's, I think he can. I don't know if he kills penalties. I don't think he has yet. And he can play the power play, but I think he's probably a good second liner, especially a guy to dig in along the boards on the forecheck like that. That's something they're really missing with their makeup of the current roster. And so if you can get that in a guy like that, my one concern is, the expectations, because he was traded for the captain, who's having such a career year, is that we'll look at Beauvillier's salary and then look at the numbers that he puts up, and that's he's a decent playoff player, but we don't even have to worry about that, so that doesn't even count. I just think some people are going to be saying that for the money he's getting paid, he doesn't his offensive numbers. I think this guy, it's a little more than just offense is great, but I think this guy brings a little more to contribute, so then I wouldn't have as much of an issue with that.
You don't have a problem with the trade? You're okay with it?
Yeah, you had to move Bo, and I figured to move Bo early because my issue was if they would wait till the deadline day, they'd try and get a bidding war going, and at the very last minute, one team would pull out and they'd have to take what they were offered, so I'm glad they moved him when they did.
My opinion is, like a lot of people, they should have done Boston and this and that, but Boston wasn't moving him at that point in time. So I'm like, when I looked at the return, I'm like, not too sure about it, but they got the first round draft pick. Top 12 protected, which means if the Islanders are in the bottom 12, who
has that choice to make the pick?
No. So if their Islanders finish 12th worst, the Islanders keep their pick this year, and the Canucks get next year's first round pick. And if they're 13th or higher, then the Canucks get the first round pick.
Okay.
And I think for what they are, like, let's say they made a deal with Boston. Your first round pick is basically a second round pick.
Oh, yeah.
Boston's
going to be
head of the league. So
25 to 30.
So the players would have to be really good. And then you're like, half the people are crying about, it should be a rebuild and not a retool. But do you want a second rounder for your captain?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So I completely agree with you. And I think the return overall was as good as you were going to get.
I think it was a good return. I mean, especially with what Horvat signed for.
Yes.
8.5 over 8 years.
Yes.
That's,
And this is his career year, too. He might never do this again.
I don't think he is going to. Well, he might,
not to this level.
Yeah. So I personally think Canucks, you could say they screwed up. They signed JT Miller at the beginning of the season. They couldn't sign him. Either way, I love Bo. But 8.5 for 8 years, I don't think.
Yeah.
If they said that to me at the beginning of the year, I said no. Even with him having a career year, I'd like, 8.5 for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
I can live
Yeah,
with.
and that's again, I like Bo, but that kind of money for what you're going to return, that kind of money for what Bo's going to bring you, right? What values is Bo going to bring you? That kind of value. No.
My thing, Bo Horvat as a player, I like him, but as a captain, I have.
Oh yeah, that's where I had issues with him.
I've had, he's a great guy, and I can't, he works hard, he
oh,
does
yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
But does he make the players beside him better?
Yeah.
Does he stand out like you pointed out in the last video? Does he, Garland's getting punched in the face,
and he just stands there and does
he
nothing.
Just like that. And
then
I know,
after the game, well, maybe I should have done something. Well,
yeah, but that's all throughout the Canucks.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely it is, right? But
and me personally, the guy, the Ratu or whatever his name is, potential is there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he ever reaches that potential.
But he's 20 or 21 years old, so you got some time to...
Exactly. And try him out. Like, you know what? If he's not in your, plans, you could always move a guy like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because somebody else will say, hey, this guy was a second-round pick, but he fell. He was supposed to project it as a first round. Yeah. He was supposed to be a first round. He fell down there. And, if he's got the talent, offensive talent that he possesses that maybe other people could extract, I think that's fine. Beauvillier by himself, I think he had to throw in a guy like him just to make the salary cap work. Yeah, and I have no problem. He's got another $4.5 million for one more year. And
apparently he had sort of fallen out in the Islanders. He had been a healthy scratch, and from a guy who was a...
It doesn't matter for me because he's a feasible player. He's going to get you 15 goals, maybe 30 points or whatever.
Yeah.
And if they ever make it to the playoffs, we'll see how good he is.
Yeah.
Everyone says he's great. And he's with this team, you needed to upgrade on the speed.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fast player.
He's a fast player.
Sort of fits their profile, what they're looking for.
Exactly. No.
So I'm, you know what? I'm happy with the trade.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm not ecstatic.
Yeah.
Like if they got like a top flight defenseman.
Oh yeah.
And,
there's still a lot of people complaining they didn't get it. Well, you got to look at the teams that were interested. What gets me is people are complaining. Well, they didn't get a defenseman for Horvat. Well, you got to look at the teams that were interested in Bo. Were they going to give you a defenseman back? And if you can't get a defenseman back. Is that worth not moving Bo because you can't get a defenseman back?
No, you had to move him. You can't, especially now that we know that 8.5, over 8 years is what he settled for. Yeah. They're probably asking for a lot more.
Yeah. And I just, there was some media that were really, Vancouver media who will remain nameless at this point, but they were, we didn't get a defenseman in return. Well, I didn't, that's not.
Your draft pick, use it on the
exactly right. Yes. That's my whole thing. Is like, and there you can still get a defenseman. There's other players you can trade to get a defenseman, right? Yeah, if it means if that's what's blocking a trade for Horvat, then no, I know. No.
It's just like you can't like I want a defenseman, and then keep the guy after
because
trade
you can't
deadline,
get a defenseman,
and then you lose him for nothing.
Yeah. Or end up making a deal on the 11th hour on trade deadline and getting even less than we got now for him.
Yeah. So I think we're both in agreement that it was not the greatest trade, but it's a good trade for the Canucks.
Exactly.
Seeing Horvat wasn't going to be here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So you got something. You got a fair price, I think.
Oh yeah,
more than fair.
Basically, price. As Elvine said, 3 first-rounders, right?
Well,
I know. He's trying to just
Yeah. Okay.
But
all right. The other thing was the coaching change. I know you're a big Bruce Boudreau fan, but
yeah, you know what? I actually have to go back on that. I wasn't when Tocchet was mentioned, and I was like Rick Tocchet.
Well, before you go there, okay. Personally speaking, now that we got him, okay, that's fine. I still think, and I think you will agree with me, they should have done a thorough search of everybody.
Oh, absolutely, they should have done a thorough search. They had their mind made up that he was going to be their guy.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, I wasn't, I'm like, okay, yeah, we need a coaching change, but why this guy? I'm a little bit starting to come around to him. I think that he if not him, somebody that possesses, what he brings, and so yeah, that's the side that I'm starting. I'm not going to say I like Rick Tocchet, but I like him more than I did before. Before he came in here.
I'm of the opinion right now we're seeing the tough love. He's trying to be the straight guy, straight shooter, telling you, these guys suck.
Hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable. Yeah, it's easy for the coach to do that, but a coach that does that for half a season, it's gonna fall on deaf ears.
And he's a guy that, for what he wants, just play this year out and start in training camp, right?
Yeah.
Or start in the summertime, as he said. These players have to, they got to get in better shape, But one thing I did have a question at him was he came out a couple of days and said, some of these top end guys are playing too many minutes. And then that next game, Hughes was at 26 minutes and Pettersson was at 22:40 or whatever, right? Yeah. After he's coming out the night before or the day before and saying that they're playing too much. So
yeah, well, who does he put out there?
Well, I know. That's exactly, but he's contradicting himself, right?
Well, yeah, I understand that he's saying they're playing too much. He doesn't have enough guys that he can put out there with confidence. I understand that. My thing with him is, he's saying all this stuff, and I realize he's the guy that the management wanted. They know him.
They're on the same page.
They know exactly what he is. I still think they should have. If it was me, I would have taken a good long look. Yeah. Maybe put
Mike Yeo in as your interim for the rest of the year.
Well, for a little while till we actually, and maybe Tocchet was their guy, and then
but
go
at
back
least
to him.
Check out, right? And although Alvin said he did, there were other guys.
That's the same thing Linden and Benny said with Green, and I was not a Green fan.
No.
And you know how that turned out.
Absolutely,
look what he did in the
Spangler Cup.
Cup.
They never won a game.
Exactly.
It's the first time Canada's never won a game at the Spangler Cup. And Canada's been going to the Spangler Cup for 50 years.
And how many in the media here in Vancouver have been, Green's the great, he's got raw. The guy hasn't done anything. He has not made one professional hockey player.
No, and he hasn't made anybody better.
No.
His coaching tactics or whatever he tries to do just doesn't work.
How many seasons was he in Utica?
Yeah. They never produced anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, the cupboards were bare. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You could get
you can find somebody down there, right?
Get one guy.
Yeah, but, I 100%. Yeah, so as I said, I think some of his ideas are right, but I get what implement what he wants is going to be a long-term thing.
No, I understand what management's doing. They're basically put him in charge to take a look at the players, then tell them, I can work with this guy. No, I can't work with that guy.
And that's what the summertime's for.
And then they could, thin out who he wants and get rid of the people he doesn't want. And I understand that point. I still think maybe if they had looked harder, then maybe they could get a better coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind you, I do like Gonchar there, and I like Foot there.
Big Foot, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't shown on the ice because
they haven't had much time to work with these guys either, right?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, plus we don't have the guys that.
No, we don't.
Going to play a defensive type of game, so. That's
another thing. This team isn't built to play that kind of style that he wants.
Exactly.
And until this roster is changed to bring in the kind of guys to play that game, the results that we're seeing now are going to continue.
I think that's another thing with Jim Rutherford stepping in the background. So he says, we'll see what Alvin could do. And I right now, kind of happy with him.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not jumping for joy or anything.
I know,
but I see glimmer.
Yeah.
Maybe I see what he's planning to do.
Yeah.
And he is making some moves. So that being said, we don't have a captain. So
we don't.
And if we and I agree with them not going with a captain this year. I like that.
Yeah.
So, but.
A team does need a captain, though.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those proponents of having a...
But for the rest of the remainder of the year...
for the rest of this year. Yeah. But I'm talking starting next season.
Yeah. So who would you choose as your captain?
Well, we know... I guess it depends who's going to be here. If Luke Shen is going to be back, Luke Shen would be my personal pick. He's a character guy. He's a guy his teammates respect. He's a guy his teammates listen to. He's a guy that has he's been around long enough that he has a rapport with some of these officials. You know, and his attitude is right.
Well, I agree with you on all accounts, but for me, you can't make Luke Shen your captain
Because he doesn't play enough?
He's a bottom six guy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like he's going to be on the ice maybe 10, 12 minutes a game.
No, I know.
That's your captain?
Yeah.
And if he's playing 22 minutes or 20
then
minutes,
it's too much.
then your team is not
Who
good.
would you pick between Pedersen and Hughes?
I wouldn't pick either one of them. They're too young. Yeah. It's too much responsibility. People like Pedersen. Oh, this.
No.
He's not good
there's
with
enough
the media.
There's enough pressure on those young guys, on him and Quinn now, that they don't need everything. And especially, I mean, we always talk about a Canadian market. Well, there's Canadian market, and then there's Vancouver, which is even more.
Well, Hughes, I could see Hughes, eventually getting there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think. I know it's the trend. You throw your most talented, most paid guy, and make him captain, make him happy. You know, it doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't work. And I've always been more of the character guy as a captain.
Yeah, well, they did it with Landeskog in Colorado.
Yeah.
It took them so long.
It did.
To actually work.
And he's not even their best player, though. That's
I know
the thing, right? Like,
at that time, he was.
At
time he was.
Yes.
But it took him a long time, and I was so glad that they didn't say, "Oh, McKinnon's better. Oh, we're going to give this."
Yeah, no, exactly, McKinnon. Right? Like,
so McKinnon were they A? You know, that's why I would say, and what is his name? And if I had to choose from this roster,
Miller?
the guy I would say Miller.
Yeah.
But he's just got. Yeah. He just got a bad attitude, right?
That's the thing.
If he had a good
I love Miller's how much he cares and his pride, and like but he expresses it, and the Canucks have mentioned his body language too many times, the way he goes,
Yeah, his lack of effort sometimes just shows up, and you don't want a captain. Like, say what you want about Bo Horvat. You can never say, oh, well, maybe one or two. Oh, he didn't do this.
Yeah.
But he always tried.
Oh, yeah.
It always looked like he tried.
So then who would you? So then who would you pick?
There's nobody on this team right now that I would say would be a good captain. Mm-hmm. Nobody. It's sad. You're like, oh, Myers, no. OEL, no. And I know OEL's been a captain before, but
that was in Arizona. Which is
Arizona, but
that's a different market to be a captain.
No, but. I can't see anybody right now that jumps out at me and says, "Yeah, this guy's captain."
Yeah.
Like Luke Shen is the best option, but he does not play enough for me to say,
and
okay.
That's all about if he comes back too. That's just assuming that they re-sign him, right?
Well, even if they re-sign him, let's say they get a sweetheart deal.
I know. Yeah.
If he's playing 10 minutes a game, that's your captain.
I know. Yeah. No, I know.
I don't think so.
No, maybe that's somebody they'll have to look at when it comes to signing free agency or making a deal for somebody who has that potential ability or already is,
I could see like somebody, like a defenseman, he doesn't have to be high-end defenseman, but, a veteran defenseman, that's been through some things that making him a captain, Like
a Matt, it's not going to happen, but a Matt Dumba type.
Matt Dumba, anybody like that, right? But I could see that. My other thing I wanted to discuss is after the coaching change, have you seen anybody that you think is doing better?
Benefited? I'll say Dakota Joshua has, and I think that's because he's got more ice time and more. I think Tocchet trusts him more than Bruce did. He's the one guy that comes to mind.
For me, it's Connor Garland.
Another guy.
I noticed him. He's scoring goals.
Yes, he is.
He's noticeable now.
And he's a guy that Tocchet had before. And now this is just coming innuendo and rumors, but that him and Tocchet didn't get along. But everything I heard after that is about he was going to use. He really wanted to use Garland to show him the team. These are the guys, right? Like. yeah, those two guys are two guys in particular. But yeah, Joseph just stood out like from a guy Joshua just stood out from a guy who was a fourth line guy playing about 8 minutes a night to a guy who's scored his 9th goal of the year the other night.
Yeah. Well, for me, Joshua last game was good. He's been playing better. I think he's definitely benefited.
He's getting some penalty
Garland.
Kill. Yeah, Garland. Yeah,
Garland really,
Yeah. And
stepped
Garland's the type of guy that Tocchet likes, that physical energy type guy.
Yeah, and this is going to be kind of weird, and you're not going to like it, but Tyler Myers, I think, has benefited because I don't hear too much about Tyler Myers, and if you don't hear too much about Tyler Myers, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they could get him. Now you're hearing, some teams might be interested in him. Like, if he plays like that, you don't hear about him, or he didn't make this glaring mistake or whatever, that might be a good thing. So, I don't know.
I guess time will tell on that.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the Canucks are done, and I think they're handling it the right way. They're tanking without actually tanking.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they have to. I think it's just natural that they're going to lose, right? We can call that tanking without tanking.
Well, I think management has a hand in it. I honestly do, and there's a reason why Tocchet, brings out a goalie there and keeps playing Spencer Martin, even though he's been brutal.
And I wasn't really happy with Silovs getting the start. I didn't think he's ready. He didn't play too bad. There was I thought the one Zibanejad goal was a bad goal. Yeah. We've seen what happened in the past with goalies when they're not ready, and it's fine. But this is a train wreck of a team, and especially on the defensive end of the game, you don't want to put a guy into that position. Not right now. If you want to try him out, wait till the last 5 games of the season and try him out.
Well, I think from what I hear, I don't know the guy. From what I hear, he's got a very steady demeanor about him. He's not like way back when they put DiPietro and he got lit up for 7 goals and looked terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think he affects him one way or the other right now. But I wouldn't throw him in too many more games. Maybe as a backup. Just to get the vibe.
What I had heard was the reason they had sent, this was before Silovs was called up. They thought that Demko would be back this weekend, and then the other guy there, Colin Delia, would be the backup.
Yeah, well, no. I think they wanted Demko to be the backup for a while, then try out Demko.
Yeah. But I mean, once Demko was coming back, then they would want, if it came between Martin and Delia. I think,
well, obviously Delia's playing better, so makes sense. And unfortunately, nobody took Martin, so you're on the hook for his contract. It's a one-way contract.
One-way deal.
So,
but it's under $1 million, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I think Spencer Martin, if he played like a limited amount of games,
like
he would
did
do well
last year.
Yeah,
right?
I think he would still do well.
And even to start this year, he's just not a starting goaltender, and neither is Delia. But
he's a feasible
Delia
backup.
has more games in NHL games under his belt.
Feasible backup.
Yeah,
he is. Both. As a backup
goaltender playing X amount of games, they can handle the job.
Every 5th game or 6th game,
they can handle the job.
I think they could come in and perform very well or whatever. So. That's one thing. The other thing is when we're talking about tanking, I think Arizona is currently above the Canucks, so we're close to them.
Yeah, it was a couple of points difference.
I think Canucks are below them now because Arizona won it.
Yeah, the Arizona won surprisingly.
And San Jose, unfortunately, didn't win.
No, but San Jose's, I think, it'll be a big loss when they move Timo Meier, right? So, and if they lose trade Carlson and Meier, they'll be.
I think they'll be jumping for joy if they trade.
Yeah,
Carlson,
no, I know, but I mean, as far as the way their team plays, right? That's what I mean. Like their team, if they trade both of those guys, I think they'll be a bottom scraper.
Well, a lot of the people are saying, "Oh, the Canucks' schedule is so freaking easy that there's no way there can be bottom 7." I say the way to watch them. I think they could be bottom 7.
Well, speaking of that's a good segue. Speaking of a schedule, the Canucks, the schedule's always tougher out west. I know coming up there's a weird scheduling. I think they got 2 games on the road. They come home for 1, and then they go to Dallas, I think, for a one-off. You know, the good thing about the schedule is you got Seattle here in your division now, which is close, but then the schedule's never been, you know, the Eastern teams have always had the better schedule.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue. What I don't like to see is the Canucks come back from a road trip and you got the Eastern team who's been sitting in Vancouver for 3 or 4 days.
It's, you know, you might not like it. That's just the way it is. I mean, there's times when the Canucks are sitting over there, and mind you, the Eastern teams don't have to travel that much, but so they're out playing a game while the Canucks are sitting in, let's say, Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh comes back from Philadelphia, which is right by them.
Exactly.
So it's not a big
well,
deal.
That's
but
what's his name, the new guy there, Beauvillier talked about. The Islanders, the Islanders last season had the most nights where they slept in their own bed out of any team in the NHL.
Well, you also got more teams right around.
Oh,
them,
no, absolutely. And even you can go to Philly and you can go to Washington and be home the same night before midnight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's not going to change. We're out here. There's not that many teams out here. We got Seattle, and pretty soon they'll be kicking our asses on a regular basis. So, well, one game, you know. Yeah. Is good, though. It's a good wake-up call for everybody. Yeah. It's like, I'm just thinking the Canucks, I know they got an easy schedule and stuff, but if they do what they're doing, I still think they could be a bottom 7. I don't think they're going to be a bottom 5 or anything. I think bottom 7.
Bottom 7, I can see
doable.
that, yeah. Which means there's still a chance, right, that you can...
There's always a chance. And if, what is it called, the Islanders, you know, are 13th or higher,
we could have 2 picks.
We got 2 picks.
In the top 12, yeah.
You know,
and I mean, I won't get it started right now on the whole draft lottery thing, but the Canucks haven't had a lot of luck in moving up. In fact, I think they've moved down more than any other team in a spot. They've moved down.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, now it doesn't matter this year because if you move up or down, you're going to get 2 picks.
Yeah, no, that's
in the
right.
top 15.
You're still going to get potentially a two top 12.
Yeah,
and I haven't studied. I don't know much about the guys this year, the drafting guys, but apparently everything I've heard, it's a fairly deep draft. So you can get the possibility of getting a potential impact player. You know,
that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think they're going to get the number 1 pick, but you could always, it's like Christmas. You could always hope for it.
Well, or you could even try and make a deal. Look.
No, no one's going to make a deal. With that much hype.
With Berard.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's just a pipe dream on my part. I hope it happens, but
and the other thing is, he's untested in the NHL.
Yeah.
It seems like he's going to be great, but you never know.
Yeah.
Right? It could be another Reddick Bonk what is it called? What is it?
Yashin.
Yashin.
A lot of those first round guys. Yeah. I was watching a thing there on first round busts, and there's been.
Yeah, so it's still, what you do in junior doesn't necessarily translate into the NHL.
And that's an issue with drafting 18-year-old kids, right? Like.
It is. I mean. Hopefully,
and that's never going to change because the Canadian Hockey League loves that. But if you made the draft age 20,
it's still you look at all the college kids.
Yeah, that's
you get them. You're like, oh, this guy's great. And
but there's a lot of guys coming out of college that they go the college route because they want to. Like they could have played major, junior, and then there was those guys who go the college route because it's the only option they had. So.
It's also less wear and tear on your body.
Oh, absolutely, and there's more practice time.
There's more practice. Plus, you also get an education, which is a great fallback.
We look at a guy like former Canuck, Tris Tanev, and there's a guy that. You look at how that guy plays, and it's like I always say to my dad, like this guy was really coached well somewhere along the line, and the biggest thing with him was the practice time he got in university. He practiced more than he played, and he was benefited from that and worked hard at it, and it benefited his game more than it was if he was playing major junior.
Well, the other thing is when you're in college, you're going to be there for a couple of years, right? You're going to be there for a couple of years. So you might as well get your education. You're not overworking your body. You're not playing through injuries. Yeah.
Speaking of college, that's who that other guy that they were talking about today was Aiden McDonough, who apparently has turned Canuck draft pick out of Northwestern, I think, or Northeastern. I'm not sure. several years ago that has already turned down the Canucks. I turned him down last year to go back for a senior year. I look at it, if you can't sign that guy, even if you get a 7th round pick, he was a 7th round pick. So whatever you get for him, but he's an asset. A draft pick is still a draft pick, right?
I have no problem if he's not going to sign with you. Get rid of him.
Yeah,
right?
no, and they have to know that within about 3.5 weeks, I guess, by the time his season's going to end, right? So.
Well, you would want to talk to him before.
Well, that's the thing. You're not. They want to know, but I mean, if they're going to move him, right?
Yeah, you would have to do that before that.
Yeah, and as I said, I know he was a 7th round pick. Whatever you get for him, you get a draft pick is a draft pick, right? He's somebody that you have that you're not going to have, right? It doesn't want to play there, so move him.
That's just like Horvat. You weren't going to have him, get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people on the Canucks that you want to get rid of, but there's nobody that wants them.
The market, yeah. And I know, like, it is what it is, right? He's been talked about as a prospect, but I think if he was really interested in Vancouver, he might have foregone his senior year.
Yeah, I think, kids should always get their college
education.
No,
I agree with. I think 100%.
Hockey is a crapshoot at the best of times.
It is, and a lot of guys, but there's a lot of guys that miss that, they forego that senior year to sign, right? But no, as I said, and whatever, we don't know, but if he's not going to sign, move him.
Yeah.
Right? Get a 7th round pick for him, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I have no problems with that.
There's been you can stockpile draft picks. I'd rather see draft picks stockpiled than all those years the Canucks go into the entry draft and they got 5 picks or 4 picks, because they've moved.
Yeah, and then you could actually trade them, the picks for somebody that you really want.
Absolutely,
right?
or you can use a pick as a kicker to throw into if you want to move somebody, right? So
yeah, you can, but unfortunately, right now they can't because they don't have enough because they want picks and they can't trade them away. So
no, I completely understand that. But as far as draft picks, you can never have too many.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where.
That's not saying you always have to draft those.
Yeah.
You always have to use those picks as to draft players, but I think they're valuable equity you can have.
It's
sometimes.
an asset, right?
An asset, yeah.
So I'm just gonna want to see what the Canucks do in the next week here, and hopefully with Tanner Pearson LTR move, I would think that they're getting ready to ship somebody off and retain some salary. That's why they made that move. Who knows what's actually going on? It'll be interesting to see.
When exactly is the deadline? Next week?
I think it's 15 days or 14 days from now.
From today, yeah.
So we'll see. Man, until next time, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it.
That's it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Turn it off, dude.